Okay, we'll do a roll call.
You're muted.
Noonan?
Here.
Zay?
Here.
Hart?
Here.
Pachowski? Here. Healy is on his way, and Grant Deckoff is here as well. So, and we have Liz attending remotely. Thank you. So we do have a quorum. I'm told we do have one public comment, and our state's attorney is going to read that into the record.
I serve on the Environmental Concerns Commission of the Village of Villa Park. We believe the Illinois Prairie Path is a vital asset within our borders. Its use could be enhanced with the addition of workout stations along its route. Because of COVID, there has been decreased desire and availability for exercise indoors. We know the county strictly controls the use of the path, so we seek your input and cooperation. Before we proceed to planning, I appear today to seek your guidance as to which county agencies should be contacted. Contact information may be sent to the village manager for disbursement. Thank you for your attention.
Who was that?
I apologize.
You need your name in there.
Let me go back and say the person. The name was Joe Amore, subject use of the Illinois Prairie Path within the Village of Villa Park.
Where is he from? Did he list his address or where he's from or anything?
Villa Park.
Villa Park. Okay.
Villa Park.
Okay. All right, that's it for public comment. I have a motion to approve the minutes of the September 5th, 2020 meeting.
So second.
I got a motion by Newman, a second by Harding. Changes, alterations, or corrections? There being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
You guys have it. Next is agenda item 5. May I have a motion to combine approve the 2 items on the consent agenda, which are a decrease in closeouts?
So second.
Okay, we have a motion to combine. Any?
Yeah, question.
Go ahead.
You know, I know we get some questions on when we have change orders, but this is a decrease. So this is actually on a contract that we let that actually comes in less than what we.
Which happens on a very regular basis,
Right.
which we don't hit enough, but yes, it's
Right.
time
We
and time
don't
again,
point that out, I
we
think,
come
enough
back with
that these are.
a contract that's closed out and it's decreased because we do watch how our money's spent in this department.
Right, so especially with these 2 contracts, they happen to be various contracts, so on call. So between the 2 of them, it's about a $70,000 reduction for this agenda. But it's very similar to many of our agendas where there's an ultimate decrease.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Next is procurement requisitions. A motion to approve a contract to Triangle Fabrication and Body Company to furnish and deliver Flink snow repair and replacement parts as needed.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Noon, second by Zay. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Next is 6B, a contract to Triangle Fabrication Body Company, furnish and deliver road watch, air and pavement measuring device products as needed.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Zay, second by Noonan. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Next is 6C, which is a contract to Dual Fuel Systems to provide preventive maintenance, repair service, and replacement parts as needed for the filling station.
So second.
Motion by Hart, second by Zay. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. And finally, motion to approve DTP 26620, contract to Wholesale Directing to furnish and deliver automotive emergency lighting as needed.
So moved.
Motion by Noonan,
Second.
second by Zay. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Do we have any report from our state's attorney?
Nothing at this time, Mr. Chairman.
I asked Chris to
He's
put
here.
something on a budget update regarding old business. Chris, could you please take that?
Absolutely, Chairman Petrowski. So yes, thank you. If we can turn that on, Joe, you also have in front of each of you kind of a hard copy of the presentation. So what I wanted to do is the chairman made his presentation end of September. As Chairman Petrowski said, it would be a good idea because there was differences between the recommended proposed budget by the chairman and the DOT recommended we presented in August. He thought it'd be a good idea to update the committee in general, but also any committee members that were unable to attend last week's workshop. So real quick, the recommended budget that we presented in August was $63.3 million. The chairman proposed budget is $64.5 million, or about a 2%, $1 million increase over what we recommended. And the primary increase that we'll go over in detail shortly came with the operated and maintenance side of our budget. Increase from about 17, almost 18 to almost 19 million. Next. So this is a summary of the DOT recommended in the left column, the chairman proposed, and the variance between the two. So for each of our operating expenses. So if we look at personnel, we are down, and that's for two reasons. Number one, we dropped the headcount. So we used to fund a full-time HR employee. That has now been placed completely under HR, so our headcount went down by 1. In addition, our original budget that we presented did incorporate a wage adjustment for all DOT employees. The recommended budget by the chairman only includes a wage adjustment for those that don't have non-union employees that don't have a collective bargaining agreement. And then there are the ancillary benefits and IRMF that went down. So that went down. On the commodity side, no net change. I do want to remind the committee that in order to balance the local gas tax budget, we actually had to move salt from local gas into MFT to balance that budget. So while the numbers don't change, the fund source did. On the contractual side, this is where we saw one of the largest changes, and this is the allocation of direct and indirect costs to the various special fund departments to help shore up the general revenue fund. So this is IT, HR, finance, facilities, and security. So for DOT, that was an additional $570,000 to our budget. Capital non-roadway, this is basically our vehicle purchases and equipment. The number is high. Of the 1.5 million, 1.2 of that, or 1.122 is carryover from this year. We made vehicle orders and we don't think we're going to make payment until FY21. So normally our budget for vehicle equipment, new replacements is about 1.5 million. Again, to shore up local gas this year, we are only buying 2 plows as opposed to 4. We are buying no other equipment. So only 400,000 for new vehicle purchases in terms of plows. And we do like the minimum of 4 because we do like to recycle those every 10 years. So this will be something as we look into future budget. Finally, the last item was not in our budget. So if you remember last year, late in the process, grounds was transferred from DOT to facilities management. And as a result of that, it was with the understanding that DOT would absorb some of the general obligation bonds that were issued in 2010 that are covered by the general fund for DOT. So we had $15.3 million of bonds in 2010. The general fund covered those. When we transferred grounds, it was with the understanding there'd be no net impact to the general fund. So this is this was missed in our budget. It was an oversight because it really came late in the process and it wasn't in our last year's budget per se. So that's about $1 million additional of debt service going forward to replace grounds, the transfer grounds. Next slide. This has not changed. This is what we showed you in August. This is our projected, I want to pay attention to the far right column. This is the projected 2021 revenues. I want to focus on local gas and MFT. As you recall, we assumed a 20% reduction due to COVID, and we'll show you the basis of that in the upcoming slides. Again, I want to emphasize that you know, the 19.3 million in local gas really funds our operations. And if you remember from the previous slide, we're at 19 million in operations. So there's very little wiggle room, if any, really, when you consider the difference between local gas projected receipts and our O&M. So obviously we're monitoring our expenses, and it's always unpredictable what happens in the winter months with Mother Nature. So looking at MFT, when we presented in August, you know, MFT runs a month in arrears and local gas runs 2 months in arrears. So when we presented in August, we only had numbers through June, and you can see at the time, you know, May and June were not looking great. And so that's what the basis for projecting a 20% decrease in 2021. We have updated data through the end of August. You can see the trend has been less negative. August was a noticeable uptick. But if we look at the year, we're still 11% under, but more importantly, since COVID, we're at 22%, which is more than the 20% we projected.
Can we go back to that prior slide?
Prior slide, sure.
Yeah. So the approved budget for motor fuel tax was 15 million. We're estimating we're actually going to take in 26 million.
Right. So what happened is when we presented our budget last year, Rebuild Illinois had not hit the streets yet.
Okay.
So under Rebuild Illinois and the doubling of the gas tax, which I just want to correct a misnomer, just because the gas tax doubled, the amount coming to local agencies did not. There's formulas and stuff, so we get something less. We get about 68%. That's why the estimate is higher.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. 2 slides forward, MFT, let's go to local gas. So this is local gas. Again, this is 2 months in arrears. So as we sit here today in September, we're presenting the data from July. So everything in green from April forward is kind of the COVID impact. And again, like MFT, we had projected a 20% decrease. Where we sit today, year to date, is about 15.4% compared to 20, same fiscal year date to date for FY20. And April to present, the COVID period, we're almost down 30%. So a couple takeaways. Obviously, our budget increased to reflect both the additional bond as well as the direct indirect expenses. You know, we do have our operations and O&M fully funded with local gas, but that was with some moving of capital projects into MFT, commodities into MFT. And so one of the things we'll need to continue to do as we look at the revenues as we hit, the fiscal year is guard the trends and make sure, especially on the capital side, that we manage when we go out for things to make sure we get through the winter months. Normally we order our plows on December 1. We're probably not going to be able to do that this year, which means we lose them for the whole year because it takes about 9 months for delivery.
All right.
So that's a quick budget update. I'm sorry if I talk fast.
All right, anybody have questions? Zay?
Yeah, I brought up in that special budget meeting about motor fuel tax and our ability to increase on the local fuel tax. I mean, we're at 4 cents right now.
That's correct. That was
What's the max we can go up to?
the maximum under Rebuild Illinois allows it, sets the ceiling now at 8 cents.
How much additional money would that give us if we increased it from 4 to 8?
Well, not with the COVID impact, if we assume the same 20%, basically it'd be 16 million a year. Normally we got last year about 20 million. So with the 20% reduction, 16, but just as a comparison.
Well, my concern is that what you said, great job doing it, but the only way we're balancing this is by cutting our capital projects out. I mean, that's the main way we're doing it, and not buying equipment. And, we all know gas has been, even though the state doubled the tax, the gas has basically plummeted. I mean, it's been $2.20, 30 cents, whatever it's been for months. I mean, I think it's something we seriously need to look at is raising that tax. If it's 2 cents or 3 cents or the full 4 cents, I think we just need it because the longer we don't do capital, the more expensive it ultimately costs us because we're pushing it down the road and there's just more damage to the roads that happen at that point. It's just, I think, something we really need to seriously look at.
I think you're right. I think we look at it after November 3rd.
Hey, penny now to save $1 later.
All right, anybody else have any questions? None? Okay, thank you, Chris, for that update. Anything else under old business? If not, anything under new business? So without objection, we stand adjourned. Thank you.
There, Daddy. Right to the point. Let's go, Brian.